eminent environmental scientist whose extraordinary work in ecological conservation and sustainable Himalayan development has earned global acclamation. Sir, your journey is deeply inspiring for all of us.
So many students today, they are interested in building meaningful careers that can also create social impact. So how do you see environmental science and ecology as a career option in today's world?
I think it's very, very important question. One thing I would like to say, this is the best time of your life. What you learn, what you do here will carry on until your last breath, I can tell you. So much of what I do, that is what I learned in school. As you grow, then you become professional. But your character, your style, all this comes from school first. Now, in terms of career orientation, I think one thing I would like to say, what you like the most, you should do that. So, if you want to be a mathematician from yourself, please do that. And if you want to become a social scientist or an anthropologist, but when madam is talking about the environment science, and if I look at the Himalaya, and if I look at how the environment of Himalaya is concerned, now the world is not very specific one subject. As you grow up, you have to have multidisciplinarity approach. Some scheme where you can work in partnership with others. So you should learn, when you do project here, try to develop partnership amongst yourself. This is one very important career when you develop. In this world, you cannot do alone. Those days of Madame Curie and all those who were Nobel laureates, they were individuals, but now time has come. It is more team and partnership. That is what is going to be. Now, environment is one of the, you go to any big industries, they have environment and social responsibility. So, any big houses, any big business you go, there also they have this subject. So that means it has a wider application. But let's look globally. The world has three major crises, and they are all three are environmental crises. One is climate change, is a global crisis. Means you go anywhere in the world, you will see that as a crisis. Whether you are here or whether you are in Brazilian forest, Amazon or Himalaya or anywhere in Africa or Australia, there is a climate change. So it's a global crisis. The other one is biodiversity loss. You know, biodiversity means number of organisms, the most complex living and life supporting system is called biodiversity. When you look at the Himalaya, in our assessment which I mentioned, the biodiversity which is existing now, we have already, as compared to 15th century, just how many centuries, 5 plus 6 centuries ago if we compare, we are working with only 20 to 25% remaining. Still, there is so much of biodiversity in the world. So, if you look at biodiversity loss because of development, because of this thing, is another crisis. Third crisis is pollution globally. So, if you pick any subject anywhere, I think all these are environmental. So, air pollution, waste pollution, and water circulation of, see why we are having rains. We are supposed to not have so much of rain now. It is supposed to be very hot season. So, if the air circulation is changing, weather patterns are changing, climate is changing, these are all environment. So, in my opinion, what I would like to say, those children who want to do environment, or environmental science has a huge prospect in future. Why? Because environment has opportunity in everything. In the government services, you will see environment. You will see, go to any industry, there will be environment and social and governance, ESG they call it. So this is a very important, globally you go to any organization, you will get this. And there are many conventions which are related to environment, there are secretariats, there are governments, there are MLCs, everywhere. So even in India, if you want to work in private sector, Tata Foundation, they're all doing environmental and social development. So when I say environment, it is not just biology or botany, zoology, it is also social sciences, also anthropology, all subjects come, but we look into the lens of environment from these specializations. So all subjects can actually go through the environment lens, and if you do like that, then you have immense opportunity, and I think the world will open opportunities for my daughter. She is studying in University of Toronto. Now she is graduating, so we are going there. And she didn't want to become like me. And I said, oh, no, I want to do humanities. I left to her what she wants. But ultimately, she didn't want to be like me, but she had to become like me. Why? Because she went to the university, she took 2 majors. And 2 majors, you know what is human? Because she wanted to be, go to humanities or arts. She took human geography. And she took environmental science. And human geography and environment science is people and nature. The connect. To make that happen, she took that. She took a certificate course on sustainability. She took a course on business management for these resources. So ultimately, all are connected with environment. So what I am trying to say is, she didn't want to become maybe like a professor or a researcher like me, but somehow the subject is related. So I would say for environment, so from any subject, if you look through the environment lens, you have a huge responsibility. Go to the hospital. In hospital also, in management of the hospital, there is a very strong environment. How you can keep a best environment. So everywhere the environment would come.
Sir, in today's generation, students are often attracted towards technology and corporate sectors. So how we can encourage minds, young minds, to explore careers which is connected with nature and environmental conservation? And also as an educator, how we can take an initiatives so that children are taking environment also as a scope as in their career.
Wonderful question. I think this is amazing. I mean, when we see change anywhere, whether in our country, globally, you know, in Paris in 2015, I was also there for climate summit. And in 2015, all the countries, including our current Prime Minister was there, signing the agreement. What was the agreement? Was we want to keep this world from the industrial age temperature rise 1.5 degree by the end of 21st century. That is what Paris agreed in 2015. And for that, everybody signed. For that, all the countries in the world had to move to really see how we can reduce the rise of temperature, global warming. And where is the global warming? Actually, the source of global warming, it is the greenhouse gases. So all of you know the emissions, either from coal, bad energy, or from industry. You get methane, carbon dioxide, you get nitrous oxide, you get chlorofluorocarbon, CFCs those days. All these are technologies very much, they are there. So they had to really stop the source of emission. If we want to really see the temperature is controlled to 1.5 degree by 21. So all the world people had to do that. And for that, for environmental cause, the technologies, the energy, clean energy, see that is the link. I will give you one more example. I think you were not born. Maybe I was there, some of. In late 1980s, there was a huge planetary crime. It's an ozone hole. Have you heard? No, ozone hole. Ozone hole was happening means there were a hole in North Pole and South Pole in the atmosphere. Actually, there is no hole. But what has happened, there is a layer of strata in stratosphere and like that. And in that, rarefication of that air was happening. And the science, the research, the environmentalists found what was the cause of that was again emission. And what was the emission? Chlorofluorocarbon, which was coming out of the industry, was going up so much high in the sky, getting mixed, and it was reacting, and the ozone, which is a very thick protector from the harmful radiation from from the sun, was coming, and people were having large-scale melanoma, means cancer. So health problem. There was really a problem, and the research found that. What was the solution? You know, the climate change is very complex. So the solution was to find out what was causing that ozone hole. It was CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. And when that was found globally, then the technologists came. So the environment problem and the technologists came, and they said, what is the source? They found AC. They found refrigerators as the source of chlorofluorocarbon. And then immediately from 1994-95, globally all the government, the policy was changed. No AC and no refrigerator which is not CFC free is allowed to be marketed. So you see, market has come, engineering has come, research has, environment research has found the problem solution. So that was addressed, and you will not believe within 10 years, ozone layer hole was addressed. Natural phenomenon of ozone hole, small one happens, but that big was solved. So technology is very, very important in the context of answering. Now, in the context of this era, big data means you have to work with technology. Again, lots of data, but big data, if you know, that will really, and now AI has come, even that will distill. So, but we have to make wise use of all this. So there is a huge potential in environment also to bring technological innovations, to use technologies to manage the environment.
I think, sir, this message, one message was very clear that if we know how to balance both technology and nature, well, then everything will be better. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you have been working on climate-related issues in Sikkim. So, what made you choose Sikkim and the Himalayan region for your research and ecological studies?
Thank you. I think to begin with, I come from this landscape called Kanchenjunga landscape. So Sikkim and Darjeeling is within one landscape. Since I was born here, I did my PhD also here, and since I had done my PhD here, the government of India also gave me the opportunity to come to my own landscape to do my first job, 12 years. And I think the most important attraction for me, for Sikkim and Darjeeling, was a very unique mountain system where I had access also, where I was able to really understand the problems and issues, and where I had seen how people have adapted over the years. So in my village, even now people have water problem. In our time also there was no water problem. But we managed 10 houses, we had managed our source, and we worked to clean, to protect, to not to waste water. So we learned from our time. very much. So that my closeness to the environmental resources was something we do work in environment, and I was very lucky to work in the Kanchenjunga landscape both Sikkim and Darjeeling. Started with Darjeeling, and Sikkim Regional Center was also covering Darjeeling. So it's amazing. One of the things why I like I enjoyed working here is from Siliguri, you try to go to Nathula, or it is just one day, and you cover almost all ecosystem type of the world here, including you can get cold desert in high altitude areas. You can see all different types of ecosystems, animals, plants in such a small location. Aerial distance is 150 kilometers. Aerial distance, if you see, you are able to have the mosaic of the world from such a small area. For an ecologist, for an environmentalist, I think this was a wonderful place to work. Right from glacier situation, Jebu glaciers, from where Tista originates, you can see the river, you can work in the forest, you go to high altitude pasture lands, you go to Lachung, Lachen, you have Jumsa, the traditional institutions with yaks really having livelihoods of high altitude pasture raising. You come little down, you have very nice large cardamom cultivation with paddy cultivation in the mountains. You have mandarin orange, you have very nice Darjeeling tea, what else? You get everything in such a small area where your knowledge, your perseverance for doing something for the people can be achieved in such a small geography. Otherwise, people have to travel and go all over. For Europeans, apart from very small, they have to go to Africa to get many experience. Some of them, for biodiversity, they have to come to Asia or they have to go to Amazon for biodiversity. We are so lucky, we get everything here, isn't it, to learn. It's a microcosm of almost all ecosystems here. And so that is what made me, I think, very glad also to work here, and very rich experience in very small geography.
So I think this is very important for students also to understand that how sometimes our own surrounding, becomes a great opportunity, so that our environment only becomes our classroom, our environment only becomes our field of research and also career path. But the only thing is we need to be curious and observe it, as you already said, sir. So we should first see what is around our surrounding, because there lies a great opportunity if we observe it well. So thank you so much, sir.
That's one point.
Yes.
See, school is so important. I told you earlier also, let me give you one example. So the headmaster, assistant headmaster was Father J. Abraham, but assistant John Brito Sinha was our English teacher, very long quality teacher. So he used to say to me sometimes, talk about this plant, Aranus, which I did my PhD. He said, why this plant always is jumping jumping down the hill? Means it was coming only on very steep slopes or landslides. So a sentence, observation from my teacher, I took in my mind. Put this, why it comes in landslide affected area? Only it jumps. He used to say, why this plant always suicides, jumps down the hill. He used to say like that. But that came so much in my mind. Because of that, I selected that plant. Because of that, then I got why this plant comes. It's a pioneer. It's a nitrogen fixer where there is no nutrient, it comes. Such a scientific finding came because there was a small observation from my teacher. So please listen to your teachers whenever they are saying something there might be something very important for your life. I just thought I should say this.
Exactly, sir. Yes.